So I'm at the gym today and somebody comes up to me and he goes, "Hey, you're a finance guy, right? You make videos on the internet." I say, "Well, yeah." And he goes, "How do you deal with it? How do you deal with all the hate and the trolls? Isn't that all social media is? It's just mean people calling you names and bullying you online. How do you deal with it?" And I said, I think part of the reason that I'm so well equipped at handling this is because for my whole childhood, from 3 years old to 18, I had one goal in mind. I wanted to be a professional wrestler more than anything. And I didn't just want to be a pro wrestler. I didn't want to be Hulk Hogan or John Cena coming out and the fans cheering. I wanted to be a heel. I wanted to be a bad guy. There was something about it that quality heel, not the kind that comes out and says, "Oh, we're in Texas and, you all smell like pigs and you all are ugly and your sports team sucks." That's cheap. A real heel, someone who can really get in and bother someone. That's what I liked. And that's what I wanted to be. I wanted to be a heel. I wanted to lean into that sort of, the more people hate you, the better you're doing kind of thing. So yeah, for a pro wrestler who's getting booed night in and night out, maybe it psychologically takes a toll on them. But at the end of the day, it's working, right? If you're hated, if you're booed, if people are throwing trash at you, you must be doing a good job. And I'm not trying to be an unethical content creator on TikTok. I'm not trying to post misinformation or mislead people to get negative. Like, I'm not trying to be, I'm not like, "Oh, any attention is good attention. Please pay attention to me. I'll lie and I'll make up things to get, I'm just sharing videos." But sometimes, unintentionally maybe, or maybe intentionally, you say something that pisses people off or gets a visceral reaction out of people on social media. And maybe it's intentional, maybe it isn't. Sometimes I think like, "Ooh, this is a good hook. It'll piss people off and they'll fight in the comments." But I don't use the hooks for bad. I use the hooks for good. I use them to lure people in and then say, "Hey, just kidding. It's going to be okay. Don't worry, whatever." Sometimes you got to play the game and pull people in using the tools that elicit a response. Other people lean too far into eliciting a response. And the whole video is negative, even if they don't believe it. They just know it'll get them the attention that they want. Prime example is a video that I've just posted. It's an old video. I've been posting it for years now, but I'll repost it every once in a while because it elicits that kind of response. And what I'm after is a dialogue and a conversation. And some people, they get it right away, and other people do not. This is the McDonald's video, which you've probably seen by now because I repost it all the time. But it's a conversation video between two people played by me. And one person says over here, "Hey, I want to make $20,000 a year from McDonald's dividend. How many shares will I need to do that?" And then the other person says, "Well, you'll need this many shares and it'll cost you $935,000 to make $20,000 a year from their dividend." And then the other person says, "Wow, that was really helpful. You should make more of these." Now, "Wow, that was really helpful" might have been me poking the bear a little bit, but it is really helpful. And in the comments, you can see the people who get it, and you can see the people who don't. And they're the very, 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 very loud minority. The video now on Instagram is probably one of my most highly viewed or highly liked, most viewed videos on my Instagram account. And I've been on Instagram for 5 years. And this video is over 100,000 views at the moment, and it just keeps going. I've gained almost 2,000 new followers since posting that video just a couple days ago. And you can see by the analytics that the majority of the people like the video. 100,000 views, thousands of likes, hundreds of shares, hundreds of saves, dozens and dozens of comments, many of which were mean. But the overwhelming majority says, "Hey, people liked it, they shared it, they saved it, they followed me," and a very small amount left comments. And of those very small amount, many of them were mean, calling me an idiot, calling me stupid. And people always say like, "Oh, I want to get on social media, but I just can't deal with the trolls." What's your coping mechanism? How do you deal? How do you post? Because no matter what you say, you're going to be on the losing side one way or the other. How do you deal with it? Prime example, someone will say, "Hey, can you make a video on Schwab's dividend ETF?" And I say, "Sure," and I make the video. And they are very happy. But then someone else pops up in the comments and goes, Why are you talking about that one? Why aren't you talking about this one? So I go, oh, okay. And I make a video about that one. And then this guy is happy. But then somebody else sees that video and they go, well, why that one? Why are you talking about Schwa? So you're never going to win. You're never going to win. There's always going to be 50% or something like that who love you and 50% who just absolutely hate you. And how do you cope with it? One of my methods is to lean into it. Look, I always wanted to be a bad guy pro wrestler. So, hey, I mean, I'm not equating this to being a heel and being a bad guy wrestler, but this is me fulfilling that portion of the dream of like getting a rise out of people and being the bad guy without being the bad guy. I don't want to be a bad guy. I don't want to provide misinformation, but that's one little trick. I lean into it. If they don't understand it, I try to, because I'm a nice guy, I'm not actually a bad guy. If I'm, I try to explain it. I try to say, well, hey, here's what I was thinking. Here's the thought behind it. Some of them just go, see you later, and they leave. Other people you can reach. Some people, they'll come on and they'll say, you're an idiot, you're bald, you're fat, and you're stupid. And there's no reaching them. They just come in, yell something, and then they leave. Other people will say, this wasn't helpful at all. Or, who is this supposed to help? And they leave. And I'll try, but they don't want to hear it. They don't want to engage. Another group of people will come in and they'll say, this doesn't, and they'll be mean about it, but they're in the right direction. They'll be like, this doesn't help anybody. You should have said blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, well, you're mean, but yes, this is exactly the kind of, when I said this is really helpful, this is the exact kind of exchange I was hoping would happen in the chat without you being mean, but right. And maybe you don't convert them, maybe they don't hit subscribe, maybe they don't hit follow. But at least you've said like, yes, this is exactly, when I said this is helpful, this is exactly what I wanted. And then you've got the people who say, hey, listen, $935,000, I don't have that. But they're thinking deeper. The people who come in and say, you're stupid, or this doesn't help anybody, they're not thinking deep enough. They're coming in, they're watching a video very quickly, and they're immediately reacting without taking the time to stop and think. They watch it, they hardly digest it, and they go, stupid, and they leave. Other people watch it, and they start thinking, and the gears start working in their head. They go, well, I don't have $935,000. Yeah, most people don't. But I like this idea of living off a dividend. And I'm in my early 20s. Maybe I can do this. Maybe I can start investing. Maybe I can start compounding and have a diversified portfolio. Hey, and they leave a comment. How would I do this? Or they DM me. How would I do this? I don't have $935,000. Well, maybe you have $93,500. Or maybe you have $9,350. Or maybe you have $935. Or maybe you have $93.50. Or maybe you have $0. But you're thinking and switching that mindset from consumer to investor. Or you're wondering, how can I make this happen? Hey, maybe I won't have thousands of shares in McDonald's. And maybe I won't make 20,000, but maybe I could make an extra 5 over the period of a long, long time of investing. That's who that video is for. So that kind of also encourages me, and you tune out the negative, and you can try to reach them, but they're not always going to respond. But you focus on the positives. And the last thing I do is I pretend a lot of times that these people are secretly working with me. So it's not really like a trick or anything. It's not real. They're obviously not friends of mine. But it would be as if you posted a video saying, hey, I'm beginning a weight loss journey, and I want you to follow me and support me and motivate me, and I'm going to try to motivate you, and isn't that lovely? And we're working together. And then you post the video and you go to your friend and you say, hey, I'm trying to boost engagement. I'm trying to get I'm trying to get engagement and have people respond and have sympathy towards me. Go on that video and call me fat and tell me I'm stupid and ugly. And then people will rush to the comments to say, oh, you're being mean. And it'll spur on engagement and get a dialogue. That's how influencers and content creators often think. And they'll often use friends on like burner accounts to be like, hey, pump up the comments. So that's one trick that I try to pretend sometimes, hey, these people they're just secretly like, they actually really like me and they're actually supporting me. And they know the algorithm, and they know how social media works. So they're going to come in and they're going to leave a mean comment. And that's one last little trick that I have on sort of like dealing with the negativity that's out there because there's so much of it. But really, at the end of the day, I try as much as possible to focus on the positive, and the analytics back it up. You know, on one of the videos posted over a year ago, the same McDonald's video, I just reposted, it got almost 900,000 views on TikTok. And oh man, I don't even remember, 5,000 people must have followed. And you look at the comments and it's a very small number in comparison to 900,000 watched it, 5,000 followed, 3,000 shares, 3,000 likes. All the positivity gets outshadowed or outweighed by 300 negative comments. And you look at it and you go, oh my God, 300 people are being mean to me. And if you are in that mindset of you tend to focus more on the negative and less on the positive, it'll wear you out really, really quick. That to say, these are my methods and this is how I cope with it. And I know this is a finance channel, and I know this is an investing and a day trading channel and a simplicity channel and living below your means and minimalism and all of that. But for the people who want motivation and are maybe thinking about getting on social media, I encourage it for everybody. We need more. We need more. And I know that I often say that there's too much. And I think that there is in certain areas, like finance. There can be too many opinions, but motivation and sharing something you love is always going to be worthwhile. If it can put a smile on someone's face. Someone wrote me the other day and said, I wish I had the knowledge that you have about the stock market so I could make stock market videos and help people like you're helping people. And I said, man, it doesn't have to be about the stock market though. You've got something you're passionate about. You can make videos and speak to that. It can just be a vlog style. It doesn't have to be opinions or anything. You can just share knowledge, share your favorite music. You can have a music channel where you say, here's the music I like, and cover it if you have an in-depth knowledge on that. Or like I said, hey, maybe you're a pro wrestling fan and you love pro wrestling and you want to come out and talk about your reaction to things and how things made you feel and your general take on the overall business and where it's headed and where it's been and what you loved and what you no longer love or what you wish they had done differently. You can do so many great things that are moving away from like information overload and just share your passions. And that's kind of what I try to do with my channel as well. Even though a lot of it is finance based, it really is more based on the education and not opinions. I get so many on the McDonald's video, people saying, why are you recommending this? Why are you recommending this? And so many people focus on like to go back to that video, people will leave comments saying 900,000 for a 2% dividend. What a waste of time. And like I was talking about earlier, where I try to reach out instead of saying, no, you're wrong. I try to counter their meanness with like, well, hold on a second. Like, yes, their dividend is only 2%. It's not the greatest dividend. Let's have a discussion. That's the point. Maybe you'll find other companies that have higher dividends or are more affordable than McDonald's or have or maybe they have no dividend at all, but they have a lot more growth potential than McDonald's. This is all moving in the right direction. This is all moving in the right path. And yet, by the way, the misinformation on dividends, like people will say, this will take 40 years to pay back the initial investment, or this doesn't outpace inflation. Well, those aren't the goals of a dividend. That's not why dividends exist. And the last thing I'll say to that is people focus on the one part of it, the dividend, but they also neglect that, hey, McDonald's is a stock that over the last 10 years is up over 200%. So using this, people say, well, nobody has 935,000. Let's say someone did, and they bought McDonald's stock 10 years ago when it was in the 90s, and they put that whole 935 in and never reinvested their dividend. If they just bought and held 10 years later, they would have a profit of $1.9 million. So yeah, we can look at the 2% dividend and go, not worth it. But then that discounts or discredits all the growth that the stock has had as well. So one thing that I like to do, since we're talking about negativity, is try to reach out with a positive and say, yeah, you're right about that 2% dividend. But look at the growth. And they come around. You can see them. Maybe they don't follow. Maybe they don't subscribe. But you can see them coming around and going, oh, you're right. I didn't think about that. That's the point of the video. So for the people who lack deeper, they just watch it. They don't digest it. They don't sit on it. They just vomit out a response. try to sit on it for a little bit and think about how it makes you feel, and start asking the questions. Because when I say this video was really helpful, you should make more of them, that was the intended purpose. All right, everyone, it's 15 minutes of your time you won't get back, so hope you thought this video was helpful. If you did, hit the bell, hit the subscribe. Please check out my other playlist if you're interested in trading and investing. There's a lot of great free resources here. All right, thanks for watching. Bye, everyone.